Greetings, Canada. My name is Luke Manel, and today I'm going to be talking to you about a very serious subject, the right to die or assisted suicide. Now, while assisted suicide is already legal in Canada, there are a lot of people not okay with it. The purpose of this TED Talk is to help raise awareness about assisted suicide and hopefully convince some more people that it is an acceptable way to die. I began my research for this TED Talk a few months ago, and I have learned a lot since then. What sparked me to pursue this topic was one of my friends who had a grandpa who used his right to die to have physician-assisted suicide done on him, and seeing the mixed reactions to his decision sparked me to pursue this topic for sure. We'll get back to that a little later. June 2016 is when Canada legalized assisted suicide. From that point to April 2017, over 1,300 Canadian citizens have died with medical assistance. For nearly all of these people, it was ideal, as while they were alive, they were in so much pain, they did not even want to be alive. Now, not just anyone can walk in and ask to die. I'll briefly explain the process that someone seeking death has to go through to get approved. While researching for this project, I found out exactly how someone can go about obtaining assisted suicide. The process is very specific and eligibility is very select. Firstly, one wishing to use a physician-assisted suicide must first make sure they are eligible. To qualify for a prescription under physician-assisted dying laws, you must first be 18 years of age or older, and also mentally competent, which means basically capable of making and communicating your healthcare decisions. And also you must be diagnosed with a terminal illness that will, within reasonable medical judgment, lead to death within 6 months. There are tests to make sure that you are mentally stable, and if you aren't, then the physician is obligated to send you over to a therapist or psychologist. Once 2 physicians have approved a person, it has to be 2 because just one doctor's opinion isn't enough in this scenario. Once 2 physicians have approved a person, has met all the criteria for assisted suicide, they can get the prescription and pick it up and just take it whenever they would like. There is no obligation for a person to ever take it. Some people just find peace in their mind knowing that they have that safe way out if their terminal illness ever does get extremely painful. Now, looking up the facts on a matter is one thing, and it's one good way to get information. But I wanted something a little more personal, with a little more humanity to it. So to do this, I went on to Reddit, which is a social media website with users all over the world, and asked this question publicly. What is your opinion on assisted suicide and why? I got a fair amount of responses back from about 20 people. There was a wide variety of them, some of them with little info backing up their opinion, like, it should be legal everywhere. I mean, if you want to die and you can't do it for yourself, you have the right to die. Another interesting response from someone who is not okay with assisted suicide was, with little information to back it up, was, it's murder, plain and simple. You're intentionally taking another's life. Suicide is the dumbest and most pathetic act, depending on the reason. Helping someone do so is even worse, in my opinion. Now, the comment that struck with me the most was fairly long and well thought out. It reads, I think it depends on the situation of why you're wanting to commit suicide. If you're feeling depressed and hating life, then no, as I don't believe anybody should commit suicide if the only reason is through depression. While you may feel suicide is the best option, always seek help and guidance in these instances. Obviously, people will have qualms with this. Suffering through depression myself and contemplating suicide, the best thing that ever happened to me was getting help. It does help. So no. If the suicide is for depression, then nobody should ever consider helping somebody to commit it, and should help them seek help. But if the assisted suicide is to put someone out of their physical, incurable misery, then and only then do I feel as though it can be excused. If the person is going to die in a month's time, and that month is going to be filled with tremendous pain every second, then I'd be more willing to excuse someone for assisting in their suicide. That's not to say I don't have my own qualms with this, as who knows if that person is actually going to die. Maybe they're told they've got a month of agonizing pain left to live, but in 2 weeks' time, there's been a huge advancement in a cure, or even a more effective suppressant has been found. And this person would have definitely survived, but you put a bullet in their head. Sure, the person consents to and wants this to happen, but they didn't know that the cure was going to happen. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, suicide, and therefore assisted suicide, is only excusable and understandable as a method of relieving somebody of the agonizing physical and incurable pain they're suffering. And so, my opinion on physician-assisted suicide is in complete agreement with this comment. People simply suffering from depression should seek help instead of death. Meanwhile, people terminally ill or in so much pain they cannot bear to live anymore, they have every right to kick the bucket. Asking this question on Reddit really helped me with my research on this topic, and it set a firm foundation for when I believe assisted suicide should be allowed. Moving on, I'm going to talk about a friend of mine who was affected directly by physician-assisted suicide. I got the chance to interview this friend about a month ago, and it greatly helped me with this project. My friend's grandpa was terminally ill with a disease that my friend does not wish for me to say the name of. My friend explained in the interview that every day his grandfather suffered more and more from physical pain. It was extremely hard on the whole family. My friend went on to explain that finally his grandpa decided he just wanted to die. Thanks to legally assisted suicide, he was able to have that. It was quick, it was painless, my friend told me. There were select family members with the grandpa when he passed away, and it was very peaceful. Finally, one last thing my friend said that was really powerful that I'm actually going to quote now is, "When he was alive, he was in pain, and that meant I was in pain. When he passed away, I knew he was no longer in pain, and it felt to me as if a burden had been lifted off my family's shoulders, and we could all finally move on knowing he was no longer suffering." Not everyone was okay with the decision of my friend's grandpa made, though. My friend told me that some of their family friends lost a lot of respect for their entire family, and some cut off all contact from them completely. Hearing that is what made me truly realize that I had made the right choice and topic for this TED Talk. If something someone chooses to do is legal, but still invites hate upon other family members, there's a problem. A problem that I hope to resolve with my work for this TED Talk, but I can't do it without your help. Now, I could just stand up here and ramble on and on to you, but what would that really accomplish? Not much without a goal in mind. The best way I feel that I can measure my success on this project is by making an online petition that is open to anyone to sign if they agree with my message. The more signatures it gets, the more awareness that will be raised for this issue. The petition reads, "Assisted suicide may already be legal in Canada, but it is not fully accepted by some people. Sign this petition to show your support as a grade 12 high school student works on raising awareness to this issue. By signing this, you are saying that you are okay with the idea of physician-assisted suicide when the patient who wants it is terminally ill." And so I'm asking you in the audience now, and any of you watching this from home on YouTube, to sign this petition if you agree with it. If we can just get to 50 signatures, I would say that's pretty successful. 50 signatures means that 50 people were affected by this TED Talk and overall message, and what I sought out to do with my research for this project and the culminating task. I'll flash the link up on screen right now, and it'll also be in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. But hey, even if only 5 people were to sign this petition, I would still find some success in that, because that means that those 5 people were affected, and one of them could grow up to be someone super influential, like the Prime Minister or something, and they would raise awareness to other people. It's like my favorite quote from the famous psychologist Gary Winthorpe. Adopting a child may not change the world, but for that child, the world will change. Even if only a few people sign the petition, some success will still be obtained in my mind because I helped them in a positive way, which could even spread to their family and friends. And so, to wrap up our thoughts today, let's summarize what was talked about. First, I threw some facts and statistics at you about assisted death, as well as making it clear where I stand on the topic. I made it clear what the issue was, which is, even though assisted suicide is legal in Canada at this time, not everyone fully accepts it, and they don't accept that terminally ill people have the right to die, to end their suffering. We explored some opinions gathered on Reddit about the topic, and then I shared with you the experience my friend has with assisted suicide via his grandfather. There were obviously some obstacles I faced doing this subject for my TED Talk, such as the overall controversy it has with some people. There were also not a lot of people I could talk to locally about this issue, because they had not had experience with it directly. But I overcame that and managed to find an alternative, which was getting opinions from people on Reddit, who are people worldwide who would possibly have had direct influence from a family member or friend with physician-assisted suicide. Finally, I asked all of you who agree with my message to visit the link and sign the online petition. Seriously, it'll only take a minute, and that minute can't seriously be considered wasted if it's spent in a way that helps raise awareness to an important Canadian issue. Thank you all for listening. Jet.